Listen, folks, I need to be brutally honest with you right now. Canada is standing on the edge of an economic cliff, and the only lifeline we've got isn't another speech from Ottawa, isn't another endless impact study, and sure as hell isn't another delay. It's pipelines. Pipelines to Tidewater. Pipelines that connect Alberta's oil and gas straight to the markets that are begging for it. Because without it, we're heading straight into a financial storm we might not crawl out of. Now, let me hit you with a number that'll blow your mind. One single pipeline, just one, could add 0.5% to Canada's GDP. 0.5% sounds small, right? Wrong. That's billions of dollars. That's hospitals funded, schools built, taxes stabilized, and seniors not worrying about whether their pensions are safe. But here's the kicker. British Columbia just slammed the brakes on Alberta's latest pitch. A privately funded heavy oil pipeline, no taxpayer bailout, no begging Ottawa for scraps. Just pure business. 1 million barrels a day. That's $20 billion a year pouring into this country. And yet, BC's Premier David Eby shrugs and says, nope, not happening. And this, my friends, is why people are furious. Not just in Alberta, not just in Saskatchewan, but across the entire country. Because we're acting like the world doesn't want what we have. Meanwhile, other countries with zero environmental standards are cashing in. Venezuela, Iran, Russia, take your pick. We wag our fingers about climate while importing their dirty crude. It's hypocrisy, plain and simple. Danielle Smith isn't asking Ottawa for a dime. She's lined up private investors, Indigenous equity partners, real money on the table, over $750 million already, scaling up to $3 billion. Not promises. Not press conferences. Actual deals. This is ownership. This is revenue flowing directly into Indigenous communities. And BC's answer? More excuses. More delays. More tanker ban talk. Basically, sure, we'll think about it after you survive our bureaucratic obstacle course. Here's what's really insane. Ottawa's track record with big energy projects is a graveyard. Keystone XL, Northern Gateway, Energy East, all dead. The Trans Mountain expansion? Started at $4.7 billion. Now it's ballooned to $35 billion. That's a 650% cost overrun. Imagine buying a car for $30,000 and the dealer tells you, actually, it's $195,000, and by the way, you'll get it in 6 years. That's Ottawa's definition of project management. And the bill for all these cancellations? $55 billion in lost revenue every single year. Gone. Meanwhile, Alberta pumps out 4.2 million barrels a day, but half of its 165 billion barrels of reserves remain stuck underground. Do the math, that's $9 trillion in untapped wealth. $9 trillion. We're not talking about building a playground. We're talking about the kind of money that could rewrite the future of this entire country. And yet, we sit on it while politicians trip over their own red tape. And here's the part that makes you shake your head, shipping times. If Alberta and Saskatchewan could send their resources through a new corridor in northwest BC, those barrels would reach Asia in 8 to 10 days. Right now, it takes longer than that just to schedule an environmental assessment meeting. 8 days to global markets could be a game changer, turning Canada into a secure, democratic supplier at a time when the world is desperate for one. But instead of embracing this vision, BC acts like it's radioactive. They've got LNG projects. They've got mining projects. Those somehow pass the sniff test. But the second you mention heavy oil, boom, everybody loses their minds. It's hypocrisy dressed up as policy. Here's what Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba are pitching: a generational corridor. Not just one pipeline, but a full-blown superhighway for oil, LNG, propane, minerals, you name it. With Indigenous partners holding real equity. With private investors putting skin in the game. With no federal bailout attached. This isn't theory. This isn't a press release. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to secure Canada's economic future. And yet, Ottawa dithers. David Eby dances. And Canadians pay the price. Every year that slips by is another year of missed revenue, missed opportunity, missed prosperity. While Russia, Iran and Venezuela laugh their way to the bank. We bury our potential under politics. And here's the part nobody in Ottawa wants to admit. This pipeline battle is no longer just about economics. It's about who really calls the shots in this country. Is it the provinces that actually generate the wealth? Or is it a federal government sitting thousands of kilometers away, slowing everything down with regulations that sound good on paper but kill opportunity in practice? Think about it. Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. These provinces are saying, we've got the resources, the investment, the Indigenous partnerships, and the markets lined up. They're literally putting everything on the table. And yet, one province, British Columbia, gets to slam the door shut on the whole country's future. One province, holding everyone else hostage. Does that feel like a balanced federation to you? And it's not just about pipelines. It's about the message this sends to the world. When investors see Canada bickering with itself, delaying projects for decades, canceling billions in opportunities, what do you think they do? They pack up and put their money elsewhere. And every time that happens, another Canadian job disappears, another small business struggles, another community loses hope. But here's the wild twist. Alberta isn't just talking anymore. They're planning backup routes. If BC won't play ball, there's talk of Churchill, Manitoba, a northern gateway to European markets, with an icebreaker fleet to keep it open year-round. Imagine Alberta crude flowing east, bypassing BC entirely, and still hitting global buyers. That's not just a plan B. That's a warning shot. It says, we don't need your permission anymore. And that's what makes this moment so explosive. Because at its core, this fight is about independence, economic independence, political independence, maybe even national independence down the line. When Ottawa dithers and BC blocks, Alberta and its allies aren't just losing patience. They're starting to imagine a Canada that looks very different from the one we know today. And here's the truth no one in Ottawa dares to say out loud. Every stalled project, every delay, every rejection pushes Alberta and its neighbors one step closer to asking the ultimate question: why stay in a system that blocks our future? The tension is building and the clock is ticking. So I've got to ask you, how much longer do we put up with this? How many more billions do we let slip away before someone says enough? Because make no mistake, the West isn't backing down. This fight is just beginning. Alberta's ready. Saskatchewan's ready. Manitoba's ready. The Indigenous partners are ready. The global markets are ready. The only question left is whether Canada is.